Starting the new year with not just one or two, but 4 exits at Days of Our Lives was not how we were expecting to ring in 2026. But it seems neither was the cast of the Peacock Sudser. The Daily Mail reports that the show returned from holiday hiatus and immediately let go of 4 of its younger actors: Carson Boatman, Raven Bowens, Ashley Puzimis, and Leo Howard. While we don't comment on individual contracts or casting decisions, a Days of Our Lives spokesperson shared with Soaps, we have tremendous respect and appreciation for the actors who bring these characters to life. What may seem sudden is part of long-range storytelling decisions. Our goal is to balance the show's rich history with where we're headed creatively. Due to our long tape-to-air gap, any changes won't be on screen for some time. On screen, we won't see much of a difference since the show tapes about 10 months in advance at this point. Bowens and Boatman both debuted on the show back in March and August of 2021, respectively. Puzimis, of course, made her first appearance in October of 2023, Nicole's teenage daughter, while Howard took over as Brady's son from Jamie Martin Mann in April of 2024. And they've all had front-burner storylines virtually ever since. Holly and Tate have been built up as star-crossed lovers with more than their share of drama. Though with Tate's supposed baby being Aaron's, it's felt like the couple may finally be able to date relatively drama-free for some time. Johnny and Chanel may be heading the other direction with their friction over her pregnancy, but those two have been through far worse, and we've had high hopes for their budding family. Now, though, there's no word about whether the show will be recasting the characters or simply sending them off. Tate's mom, Teresa, is in California, of course, and Holly's mother, Nicole, is in Paris, so both characters potentially have places to exit to. Johnny and Chanel are another matter, unless they decide to go live with his mom, Sammy. Or perhaps, if they leave, they'll simply decide they've had enough of Salem's drama. DiMera's devils and delusional teens can wear you down. All 4 characters, of course, are connected by Sophia, who's currently concocting some sort of plan, which is sure to target some or all of them. But we don't see her being a reason for them to leave, as we'd be surprised if she was still causing trouble 10 months from now. Then again, this is Salem, and villains stick around. While it sounds like this was a shock to everyone, Boatman handled it with aplomb, telling the Daily Mail that he was incredibly grateful for the past 5 years. I have nothing but love and respect for everyone over there from top to bottom. As for what's to come, he's genuinely so excited to see what the future holds for me, as well as the show. This news, of course, comes on top of the trio of recast news that we got just last week, with Ari, Rachel, and of course, Chad all seeing new faces soon. Last November, One Life to Live fans were so excited to hear that Dan Gauthier had joined Days of Our Lives. After all, it had been 15 years since we'd seen the Longview fave in daytime. And though he took over the role from Jason Brooks and first appeared in Salem on December 19, 2025, Soap Opera Digest has confirmed that the actor's run in the legacy role has come to an end. Viewers got their first returning glimpse at the character when he was thrown into the DiMera cryptic. Though Chad and Theo had no idea who he was, Kristen was happy to see her long-lost brother. Peter quickly blamed EJ for the mess they'd found themselves in and urged everyone not to trust him. But Kristen came to believe that Peter could be behind them all being locked inside the cryptic and managed to get everyone to believe her. When Theo took things one step further by charging Peter, determined to see if he had anything in his pockets, Peter fessed up and ordered everyone to stand back and revealed a vial of gas that could kill them all. Feeling shunned by his family, Peter rehashed the DiMera history, but it was Kristen who managed to make him believe she cared, which led to him agreeing to save only her. However, the second his back was turned, Kristen smashed him over the head, and Peter was impaled by a bone. Going over everything Peter had been through, Kristen felt sorry for her brother. When she was given the task to decide if Peter should be taken off of life support, she decided to let God decide if he would take another breath after doing so. And not only did he take a breath, he had enough energy to grab Kristen and warn he'd see her in hell. However, after he ordered her out of his room, Dr. Rolfe injected Peter with one of his special concoctions, then he coded, and everyone was informed of his death. But we all know how that goes. Even though Gautier has concluded his soap return, we hope to one day see him bring Peter back to Salem. It's always kind of funny how some dates just seem to carry so much weight. They can be for good reasons, or bad ones, or something in between. As Days of Our Lives, Susan Seaforth Hayes put it on her Instagram, January 12th, is indeed a day to remember. And it's for the good times, and the sad, and perhaps the bittersweet moments in between. And perhaps for one thing, Seaforth Hayes gets to celebrate her youngest stepdaughter, Margaret Jackson's 70th birthday. That, in and of itself, is incredible. But for another thing, it was 50 years ago this day that Time magazine put out its first and only issue with soap opera characters on the cover. Those characters? Well, we're sure Days of Our Lives fans know that they were Doug and Julie. As Julie's longtime portrayer shared on Instagram, January 12, 1976, was the day that Time magazine put Doug and Julie on its cover, representing soap operas' reign over pop culture. And 48 years later, in 2024, it was the day my darling husband said farewell to this world. I remember all of it, and so does my Days of Our Lives family. I'm wearing Bill's jacket to work, the 35th anniversary jacket. Of course, the Time cover declared soap operas, sex and suffering in the afternoon. And that wasn't necessarily a criticism, nor is it particularly wrong. But as Seaforth Hayes remembers her beloved husband, and we're reminded of the bonds Doug and Julie shared over the years, we'd be remiss if we didn't add that soap operas are also very much about love and family. Sex and suffering may bring the drama, but love will always be the beating heart of daytime. This year, we begin our 61st season of Days, Seaforth Hayes continued. I've been blessed to have so much opportunity, happiness, and love in my life. The stars I reached for were always shining in his eyes. Today of all days, I wish you love. Stephanie's working on the big spectator engagement announcement when Steve jumps in to tell her that's dangerous. Yes, he's been a major buzzkill, but this time, he's probably not wrong. Steph is actually well aware of the risk. That's why she wants to do it. Neither Steve nor Alex like that idea, but Stephanie puts her foot down. She's taking control, and there's not much the guys can do in the face of that. They'll flush the guy out. But before they can work out a trap, Steve finds something bad on the dark web. Spooky. The fan is posting on message boards as SansFan69, saying they wish they could get rid of her boyfriend. Anyway, the fan's planning to kill Alex, and they spot a picture from that morning's excursion that Steve completely missed. Picking up from Friday, Dimitri plants a passionate kiss on Leo. You were saying? That's just cruel, Dimitri. Leo repeats that he loves Javi and turns to leave, but Dimitri insists that they both felt it. Deny all he wants, Dimitri doesn't think anything has changed between them. Leo puts his foot down. He has changed, and he was happy, and he is leaving. But he's definitely not as sure as he should be. Sarah gives Paulina the good news about Chanel. Then the mayor heads off, telling Javi he can see Trey anytime he wants. Sarah checks in on the jilted groom, and he reminisces over bringing Trey home to Leo. Sarah notes that caring for a baby bonds couples, so Javi bemoans that it's not enough. Maybe it could be if you weren't so stubborn, Javi. Xander fires Brady, clearly over Sarah, and Maggie rushes in before things get too heated, aghast to hear what just happened. Brady stomps out, and Maggie follows, promising he's not fired. But Brady's not interested. He's ready to go. Maggie promises to keep Basic Black alive, then sweeps back into Xander's office to tear into him. Can you at least think before you act? Not usually. She sends him home for the day like a misbehaving child, and Xander goes. She calls Sarah to tell her that Xander fired Brady, probably because of her. Sarah finds Brady back home, but he thinks this is a blessing in disguise. It's kind of a relief to finally have the excuse to move on, even if he does feel bad about leaving Basic Black. Sarah promises that Brady is John's legacy, and his family. Family, like Rachel, who isn't quite ready to accept that Mommy and Daddy aren't getting back together, so Brady needs to keep this tamped down for now. Xander and Leo both show up at Marlena's door, looking for a quickie session. That poor woman. Luckily, she's not home, so the fellas instead try the pub for a drink. Or 10. After throwing some back, Xander offers advice on handling Dimitri. Tell him to bugger off. Brilliant. Get that man a therapy license. But Leo thinks Javi deserves better, which is exactly how Xander feels about Sarah. He loves her and Victoria too much to stick around. That's deep, Leo marvels. Sure. Javi's sitting morosely in the square when Dimitri shows up to make everything worse. Dimitri's shocked to hear Javi's the one who sent Leo his way. With permission, he tells Javi all about the kiss, how into it Leo was, and conveniently leaves out anything else. Javi's happy to have confirmation that Dimitri's a jerk, then takes the high road and leaves a frustrated Dimitri behind. Stephanie, meanwhile, is the reluctant one, since she's realized this isn't just an overzealous fan and Alex's life is in danger, so he twists her words back to her. This is his life on the line, so it's his decision. They're doing this! Well, okay. Stephanie sends the announcement. Days of Our Lives spoilers indicate some shocking exits are on the horizon, as 4 cast members have been fired from the Peacock soap. CTS has all the details below. As per the Daily Mail, 4 actors are leaving Days of Our Lives, and they also happen to be 2 super couples. They include Carson Boatman, Raven Bowens, Leo Howard, and Ashley Puzemis. The only silver lining in this all is due to the show's advanced filming schedule. Fans won't see these exits take place until late 2026 or potentially early 2027. A Days of Our Lives spokesperson commented on the firings, stating, "While we don't comment on individual contracts or casting decisions, we have tremendous respect and appreciation for the actors who bring these characters to life." They went on to say, "What may seem sudden is part of long-range storytelling decisions. Our goal is to balance the show's rich history with where we're headed creatively." The statement concluded with, "Due to our long tape-to-air gap, any changes won't be on screen for some time." Bowen has been on Days the longest, debuting as Chanel in March 2021, with Boatman following after the fact in August 2021. Bowen was a recast of Chanel, taking over from Precious Way. Meanwhile, Puzemis has been playing Holly since October 2023, while Howard was also a recast, taking over the role of Tate from Jamie Martin Mann in April 2024. There's a lot more story to tell for these 4 characters, who are all struggling within their respective relationships. As such, it'll be interesting to see just how they end up leaving Salem, and if they end up leaving the little town together as a couple. When all is said and done, Days of Our Lives spoilers reveal that Peter Blake has died in the hospital with a little bit of help from Dr. Rolfe. Of course, that doesn't mean that it is forever. Rolfe does seem to bring people back quiet often. However, Peter's accomplice seems to be from Alemania, and one has to wonder if that person is Vivian Alemagne. Let's be honest, there are a few people from Alemania that could want to get rid of the DiMeras. At the time this plot started, Vivian lived there. Of course, Megan Hathaway has been hiding there as well. Gwen Rizchek lived there for a while, and Dimitri von Leuschner was there as well. Dimitri was in prison in Alemania, just as he was in the States thanks to Gwen and EJ DiMera. Vivian has had a lot of things going on in the time in between before having to run back to Alemania herself. Now Vivian is claiming that Stefan, who she forced to go back as well, is dead. That only leaves Vivian. Peter had left a year ago after attacking Dr. Rolfe and ended up battling the jungle fever that he didn't get the cure for years ago. Peter was presumed dead for years. Vivian has always had issues with the DiMeras, and Peter was never fully accepted by them. Vivian has learned that she can count on Dr. Rolfe after he has saved her a few times. Vivian could certain be involved here. Peter's sibling rivalry resurfaced as he felt that the other family member hated him. Peter wanted what he truly believed was his. Peter wanted to take over the DiMera legacy and get rid of his siblings, all of them except Kristen DiMera, until she whacked him over the head to save her siblings anyway. Peter then wanted Kristen gone and ran her out of his room. Vivian hates EJ and everything he did to her sons. Vivian knows that EJ didn't want Jake DiMera or Stefan DiMera to be a part of their family. Vivian also knows that as much as she hates Gabby Hernandez, EJ hurt Stefan by sleeping with her. Vivian couldn't take over Titan Industries, but she surely could try to get her hands on DiMera. Did Vivian join up with Peter for revenge against the DiMeras for disrespecting her sons? Has Vivian been lying about Stefan's fate all of this time? Will Vivian eventually pop up in Salem and let everyone know she was the accomplice and try to take over DiMera with a little bit of help from Dr. Rolfe? Days of Our Lives spoilers for Wednesday, January 14th, have Brady and Tate plotting the future of John's company, while Rachel and Sophia plot the future of John's family. There is much drama in the Black household. Brady allowed Xander to fire him from Basic Black, despite Maggie's attempt to change his mind. Tate is about to flunk out of college, so father and son put their heads together over what they're going to do next. And as they plan their professional lives, Sophia asks Rachel to help her with a much more personal project. Meanwhile, Holly is happily dancing through life, a la Wicked, and trying to convince Ari to join a sorority with her. Dimitri made it clear to Gwen that he would be taking back all his money from her and kicking Gwen out of his family's home. Gwen would not like that to happen, which means she needs allies in the DiMera family. Gwen decides to start with Kristen. They have a lot in common, they've bonded before, and they are both planning on using each other, but only one can win. Leo has babbled to Marlena, Leo has babbled to Xander. Now it's Chad's turn. Surely, everyone is interested in Leo's troubles and is invested in his dilemma about Javi versus Dimitri. It's not like Chad has problems egoing or a life of his own. Days of Our Lives spoilers photos for the January 14, 26 episode tease Sophia and Rachel's next big scheme. This one seems ambitious but successful at first. Why do the work when Rachel and Sophia can plot to break out of Bayview instead? The Bayview besties look pleased with themselves in the above photos. Sophia is holding a wad of cash. Does Rachel secretly steal the money from her dad? Brady visits his daughter, so the opportunity is there. And it looks like Rachel may pretend to be Sophia, so the staff will not suspect that her friend has hightailed it out of there for the evening. Sophia's breakout is successful, but there's a close call. In the images above, Ari spots Sophia, who's decked out in a dark hoodie. What does Ari do with this information? Ari potentially busting Sophia could ruin her plans of revenge, most likely against Johnny and Chanel. Maybe Holly beastie too. Holly has returned from Paris, and on Wednesday she continues to reconnect with Tate. Additionally, she spends time with Ari. The weekly spoilers reveal that Ari asks Holly to join a sorority with her. That might not be on Holly's agenda. After getting in trouble earlier in the school year, she decided to focus on her academics. Finally, Brady and Tate have a chat. Discussing Rachel seems to be a given. Also, look for the father and son to discuss Basic Black. Brady will probably let his son know about his sudden unemployment status. He might admit that he's good with leaving Titan, since he was feeling lost and unfulfilled anyway. On Days of Our Lives, Lonnie Price has always had a habit of slipping in and out of Salem. Big returns, then long absences. Her indelible presence always reminds viewers she's part of the fabric, even when she's off-screen. Lately, she's been more absent than present, but Sal Stowers has continued to entertain fans, especially with her women-to-women interviews of castmates. Recently, she partook in a fun video that gave fans a wonderful glimpse behind the cameras. The official Days Instagram account wrote, "From the dressing room to Salem streets, it is Sal Stowers' day in the life. Who do you want to see take over next?" And paired it with a video that moves through her day. It starts at 7 a.m. with Stowers in the car, already on the move, inviting viewers to join her. By 7:30 a.m., she's on the lot with coffee, call time locked in. At 7:45 a.m., she's inside applying under-eye patches, a quick reset before the work ramps up. By 8 a.m., rehearsal is rolling and Stowers is moving through the Salem streets in a robe, script under her arm, eye patches still on, easing into character as the day takes shape. 8:30 a.m. is makeup, a brief stop in the chair while brushes do what they do without much discussion. 9:15 a.m. follows in the hair room where her curls are shaped and tweaked by hands that already know where they're headed. At 10 a.m., wardrobe goes on, and the day clicks fully into camera mode. No fuss, just readiness. By 10:30 a.m., Stowers pauses in front of a classic Days wall display, flashing a smile under the caption, "Be cute," fully assembled now with the switch flipped. And at 11 a.m., she's walking onto the set, tablet in hand, lights overhead, the caption simple and honest, "Time to work." The comments filled quickly as one fan wrote, "Oh, how I would love to visit this set." Another added, "Please stay for good." One follower simply posted, "Auntie Lonnie is back." There were plenty of hearts, fire emojis, and one practical observation. "I definitely need those under-eye bag removers." Castmate Cherie Jimenez chimed in too, keeping it simple. "I love this." What stood out wasn't polish, it was familiarity. This wasn't a promo pretending to be casual, it was simply casual, full stop. And one viewer said, "Love seeing Sal," while another went straight for nostalgia. "Who doesn't love Lonnie?" The video didn't promise teasers or storylines, just the fact that Stowers is back on set. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Tuesday, January 13th indicate some bombshells on the horizon in Salem. Someone spins a story while a parent has concerns and a friend needs a favor. Find out what's set to unravel on Tuesday's show below. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Tuesday, January 13th hint that Dimitri von Leuschner will spin a story to Rafe Hernandez. It sounds like Rafe will want more details about his alleged kidnapping, and Dimitri will attempt to deflect the ISA agent. Speaking of the ISA, Rafe's partner, Kat Green, will have some questions for Gwen Rischek von Leuschner. Will Kat get more information from Gwen? Gwen may think she's friends with Kat, but she's also no fool and can see a fishing job from a mile away. Over at Bayview, Brady Black will meet with Rachel Black's doctor and voice some concerns. He's super worried about Rachel, her condition, and her behavior. So will the doctor be able to provide him with the answers he needs? Meanwhile, Kristen DiMera will attempt to persuade Sarah Horton. Is this about Brady or her late brother, Peter Blake? What will Kristen persuade Sarah to do exactly? Fans will have to tune in to find out. Speaking of Rachel, Days of Our Lives spoilers for Tuesday note that her Bayview buddy, Sophia Choi, will ask her for a favor. Sophia is itching to escape the facility, and with Rachel's help, she'll be successful. In fact, this week's Days preview shows Sophia out and about in Salem. It sounds like Rachel will assist Sophia in this goal. However, what will Rachel have to do in order for Sophia to jump off the Bayview ship? Only time will tell. What storyline are you most looking forward to during Tuesday's show? Share your thoughts. Watch the Peacock Soap daily and check out SOS often for the best Days of Our Lives updates, spoilers, and news. Welcome to Days of Our Lives Daily YAPP for a quick, and by that, I mean you're already halfway done, recap of the most amazing or what the heck did we just watch moments on today's episode. Let's get to it. Gwen stopped in her tracks the moment Kat called her a badass as she tried to get the truth out of her regarding Dimitri's kidnapping. Gwen looked as if she wasn't sure whether her new BFF could be trusted or not. On the one hand, she had just paid her a compliment, but on the other hand, Kat wanted to know just a little too much. So, Gwen gave her a half answer for fun, but made sure not to completely implicate herself. Gwen cut their little outdoor winter drink meeting short to return home and spar with Dimitri, and make more mischief. It then became very clear that Gwen indeed did kidnap Dimitri, and she is playing some sort of long game with all the DiMeras. She is even willing to make it look as if Dimitri kidnapped the DiMera siblings, but also seems to be sure that it wasn't Dimitri. Could it have been Gwen who held the DiMeras in the crypt all those weeks? Could she be working in cahoots with Vivian, meaning she also knows what really happened to Stefan? Gwen could have also been the one to order Rolf to make it appear as if Peter were dead, so that Peter couldn't tell the whole truth. The plot thickens in Salem as we all wonder what on earth Gwen is really up to. Want more details? We got you! Soap Central has the best full duel recaps on the internet. You can even go back over 30 years and read each and every one of them. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers too. And whatever you do this weekend, do not, seriously, do not, forget to read the 2 scoops for some laughs in the as close as we can come to being a watching party without actually being a show. And the best part is, if you agree or disagree, We want to know. As always, share your comments below. Here's what's coming up on Days of Our Lives for Wednesday, January 14th, 2026. From questions to a discussion, you can't afford to miss it. Fans can expect Brady and Tate talk about Basic Black, while Sophia and Rachel plot. Soap Opera News has the scoop. Rachel and Sophia are back at it, and it is just as wild as it sounds. Their latest scheme involves stealing money and pulling off yet another escape from Bayview. This time, Sophia wants to buy a phone, and she ropes Rachel into stealing cash from her own dad to make it happen. Crazy? Absolutely. Still, they go through with the plan. Sophia slips out of the building to carry out the task, while Rachel takes her place to cover for her absence. As Sophia roams the streets of Salem and heads into town square, will she finally get caught this time? While Sophia tries to keep a low profile, she may not be as careful as she thinks. Wearing a hoodie and moving through town square, she catches Ari's attention. Ari spots someone who looks an awful lot like her friend and calls out to her. Will Sophia actually be caught, or will she manage yet another narrow escape? Sophia is not the only thing on Ari's mind. On this same day, Holly asks Ari to join a sorority with her. The two are total girls, but is Ari ready to take that step? Will she agree, or does she have reservations about diving into sorority life? Elsewhere in Salem, Leo opens up to Chad. Dimitri's sudden return, coming just after Leo married Javi, has clearly shaken him. Leo is not fully over Dimitri, but he still wants to keep things moving forward with Javi. Look for Leo to be honest with Chad as he sorts through his complicated feelings. Days spoilers for January 14th, 2026, say Gwen questions Kristen. With Kristen newly released, there is a lot to catch up on. Meanwhile, Brady and Tate discuss Basic Black. Xander has just fired Brady, so there is a lot to talk about as questions about the future and Brady's next move hang in the balance. That's all for Days of Our Lives spoilers for January 14th, 2026. Which storyline are you most excited for? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to check out the dual spoilers for even more drama coming to Peacock. Days of Our Lives spoilers and photos for January 14th offer a sneak peek at what will take place in Salem. Among the happenings, Holly asks Ari to join a sorority with her, and Sophia and Rachel plot. Let's Soap Opera News break it down for you. Brady and Tate will be talking about a few things, starting with the wallet in the photos. Apparently, something's gone missing from it. Cash, maybe? They'll also discuss Basic Black, the legacy Brady's father left behind. And with Xander having fired Brady, if the situation isn't resolved soon, he may need to start exploring other options. One thing's for certain, Sophia knows how to scheme, and now she's drawn Rachel into her plot. Whatever she's cooking up this time involves another escape from Bayview, with Rachel taking Sophia's place while she's gone. But what are they really up to now? Holly gets to wrap herself in Tate's arms, a place she loves to be. All good, right? But there's more happening. Holly also has a chat with Ari, and according to spoilers, she wants her friend to join a sorority with her. Will Ari agree? After chatting with his doctor, Brady stops by to check in on his daughter. Sophia makes yet another escape from Bayview. But will she get caught this time? As she weaves through the streets of town square, Ari spots someone who looks an awful lot like her friend. "Sophia?" she calls out. But can Sophia get away before she gets caught? These spoiler photos tease just what to expect on the upcoming episode. Between the questions and the plots, January 14th looks packed with moments that you cannot miss. The episode will also feature Leo opening up to Chad. Here is some shocking casting news that is sure to shake up your day. Days of Our Lives has officially let go of several leading actors: Raven Bowens, Carson Boatman, Ashley Puzemis, and Leo Howard. The news was first reported by the Daily Mail. It seems the show is kicking off 2026 with some major changes behind the scenes. These actors returned from the show's hiatus only to learn about their exits. In a statement to Soap Opera Digest, a spokesperson for the show said, "While we don't comment on individual contracts or casting decisions, we have tremendous respect and appreciation for the actors who bring these characters to life. What may seem sudden is part of long-range storytelling decisions. Our goal is to balance the show's rich history with where we're headed creatively." Due to our long tape-to-air gap, any changes won't be on screen for some time. These exits hit especially hard because they involve two of the show's popular couples, Tate and Holly, and Chanel and Johnny. Both pairs are currently in major storylines, so it will be interesting to see how the writers handle their departures. Because Days tapes so far in advance, these changes won't be visible on screen until late 2026 or early 27. Here's a quick look at how long each actor has been part of the show. Right now, Johnny and Chanel are in the middle of one of Days' most intense storylines. The couple recently adopted a child and just found out they are expecting another. Because the pregnancy is high risk, Johnny wants Chanel to consider an abortion, but she insists on going through with it. There's no word yet on how these characters will leave Salem, but we will be keeping a close eye out for more information. So, Days fans, where would you like to see these stars pop up next? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's hear your theories. Stephanie and her papa are working side by side at her place. Stephanie is working on the engagement announcement. Steve doesn't want her to post the statement publicly for fear it will provoke her stalker. Stephanie is down to draw him out to get this whole thing done. Steve pushes back, but Stephanie isn't having it. She is tired of living in the dark, and Alex agrees. She says it's her life and decision and is ready to take back control. Steve relents and decides they will move forward with setting a trap. Just then, Steve comes across a post on a message board from SansFan69. The message notes how he wants to go after Alex to get him out of the way so he can be with Stephanie. He shows them the accompanying picture, which is of them kissing in Horton Square, earlier that morning. They decide to officially bring in the police. Alex still wants to set a trap and use himself as bait. Stephanie worries her fiancé will be killed, but Alex insists. Steve isn't thrilled, but believes Alex is right and knows it's time to take the offensive. With that, Stephanie hits send on their engagement announcement. Leo is at the DiMera mansion, telling Dimitri how sorry he is he ever believed the Dear John letter. He is sorry for everything, but mostly if Dimitri thinks they are getting back together. Just then, Dimitri lays a big kiss on his beloved and asks how he feels now. Leo pretends to be unmoved and throws up a wall. Dimitri isn't buying anything and reminds him of all they've been through and how he fought his way back to his beloved. Leo's face begins to betray him when Dimitri says he believes no emotions have changed between them. He takes Leo's hand, which sends Leo's head reeling until he quickly makes his exit. Sarah meets up with Paulina in the hospital lobby and tells her Chanel is finishing up and did not have a miscarriage. She is oh so relieved and heads out with little T. Sarah runs into Javi, who is still reeling from the Dimitri debacle. Javi doesn't know how to feel and is afraid to hope. He doesn't know how many more goodbyes he can take. Sarah pulls him in for a hug before he exits. Xander and Brady are at Titan. Xander is griping about Basic Black's performance, but Brady is certain it's about him messing with Sarah. They go back and forth for a brief moment when Xander fires him. Just then, Maggie walks in. She tries to stop Xander, but he can't hear her and tells Brady to get gone. Maggie can't even look at Xander and follows Brady outside. Maggie tries to get Brady to stay, but he is done. He notes how he has lost passion for Basic Black anyway, and it's time to move on. He worries about his employees, and Maggie says she will protect them and do her best to keep John's legacy alive. Maggie heads back in and tries to reason with Xander as she knows he is dealing with his divorce. Xander admits his feelings and heads out to take a walk. Maggie tells him to take the day, and she and Philip will handle the shareholders' meeting. With that, he exits. Afterwards, she calls Sarah to tell her about Xander firing Brady. Sarah arrives at the Kyriakis mansion and gets the lowdown from Brady about his firing. He admits he mouthed off at Xander, whose temper was in full flex. Brady is kind of all good as he's been wanting to exit Titan for the longest time. That being said, he's afraid he is disappointing his father. Sarah says Brady is his father's legacy, and that's what mattered to him. They chat a bit more before Brady heads out to see Rachel. Leo and Xander both show up at Marlena's door for a therapy fix. Leo thinks Xander being in therapy makes him deliciously sexy and ripe for the female picking. They go back and forth when they realize their savior isn't home. Xander and Leo continue processing outside the Brady pub, and decide to go grab a drink, or several. They get to talking and drinking, allowing Xander to learn about the Dimitri of it all. He tells Xander about the kiss and how it actually reignited some long-dead feelings. He feels like Javi deserves better, which is exactly how Xander feels about Sarah. In his case, he loves Sarah and Victoria so much, he had to walk away. Leo asks if he regrets it, and Xander says every minute of every day. Today, he was reminded of who he really is, which confirmed he made the right choice. Javi is sitting in Horton Square looking at pictures of Leo when Dimitri walks up. The two engage in awkward conversation when Dimitri tells him about his earlier meeting with Leo. He more than plays with the truth when he says he kissed Leo, who returned his affection passionately. Javi just can't deal with Dimitri any longer and leaves him alone in the square. But even seasoned actors of the Peacock soap were left in disbelief after 4 cast members were brutally cut from the beloved show after returning from the Christmas break. The daytime soap, which has come up against ailing cast members, death, and a change of writers in recent years, has dropped regulars Carson Boatman, Raven Bowens, Ashley Puzemis, and Leo Howard, the Daily Mail can exclusively reveal. Culling 4 younger cast members is a somewhat perplexing decision, given the long-running soap has espoused the importance of bringing in new and younger talent to target Gen Z and millennial viewers in recent months. It was a New Year bloodbath at Days of Our Lives this month as the cast returned from a Christmas hiatus, an insider told the Daily Mail. 4 cast members were immediately let go. Carson Boatman, Raven Bowens, Ashley Puzemis, and Leo Howard were given their walking papers in a shock move as soon as the show resumed taping after the holidays. Days decided they needed to switch things up. All 4 actors were let go last week within a day of getting back from the show's holiday hiatus. They were totally blindsided, especially Carson, who was in the middle of renegotiating a new contract. Boatman, 31, joined the show in 2020 as the legacy character Johnny DiMera, the husband of Bowens' Chanel DiMera, with the pair collectively known as Janelle by ardent fans. Their characters married during Christmas 2021, but it was annulled shortly afterwards due to Johnny's demonic possession, which saw him engage in a one-night stand. But they reconciled in 2023 and said, "I do," for a second time on Valentine's Day in 2024. 6 months later, Chanel fell pregnant, but later suffered a miscarriage. In November, they adopted their son, Trey. The storyline seemed to be a promising move to cementing the young DiMeras as one of the soap's legacy couples, with Boatman himself recently opening up about plans to remain long-term on Days. "I'll take 25 or 50 years if we can get it," he told E! At the 60th anniversary celebration of Days back in November. Boatman is also part of the Day Players Band, a musical troupe made up of his male co-stars Eric Martsolf, Wally Kurth, and Brandon Barash. They recently announced 10 shows, kicking off in Florida on January 24th. Speaking at the same event, Bowens, 35, who plays Boatman's on-screen wife, Chanel DiMera, also talked about her future on the show, telling E! that there's a lot coming up,